up guys? Just wanted to give you a quick update on that Yonaka radiator fan shroud. Since it doesn't fit as per the previous video, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to use the side that will fit. The side that is close to the transmission, the left side of the car, or the right side if you're sitting in the car. It's over here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to trim it because there's 3 mounting points. There's a mounting point there, there's one at the top on this side, and then one on the other side. So that way I can use that those slim fan. I'm going to put that on here because it has the mounts for it. Then I'm just going to probably cut it like right across here and then straight up and leave it just like that. Now I know it's going to keep this area off the top of the radiator, so I'll find some sort of like foam sticky sealant that I can stick in there, something you use for like vents. That way it's actually flush against the radiator and pulls as much air as possible through the radiator. Here I got them separated. Use my grinder to cut it away. Kind of a tedious process with the grinder as it doesn't cut through aluminum that well, but it did the job. Then I kind of cleaned off all the edges. And what I was talking about is I want to get some sort of foam that I can put between here and here. So I'm gonna have to go to Lowe's, see if I can find something that I like, but let me get this dropped in here. Okay, and see with it lined up, it'll fit perfect. I'll have plenty of room for the exhaust manifold. I just want to eliminate that gap. And the fan will fit right on there perfect, and it'll mount using these positions that they provide. Now we got the fan mounted back onto the shroud. We want to seal off this portion. So what I use, this is it's an air conditioner weather seal. It's resistant to sunlight, moisture, and extreme temperatures. And that's the reason I use it. The extreme temperatures is what I'm more concerned about, since it's going to be along this lip and mounted up against the edge of the radiator. And now that I got it cut to size, what I'm going to use some RTV silicate. I'm going to put it down along the base of this. I'm going to put this on here, and then I'm going to let it sit for a couple hours just because I want to dry and hold on to it very, very solid without it moving around. And I left it a little long, which is why it pushes itself up, because I wanted to make sure it was as tight as possible on the corners. And lastly, I took another strip and I cut it in half, made it thin. That way it is completely sealed off on this corner. Now I'm gonna let it dry and then I'll go ahead and get it installed. So I went ahead and put RTV along all the seams. So now it's completely sealed off and I don't think it's gonna move at all. It seems pretty solid in the way that it's fitting on there. And here it is finished up. Fits really well. Maybe that could be a suggestion to Yonaka. Maybe just make a half-size shroud instead of the full one. I know some people are leaving the full shroud on and then putting just a single fan on. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to use that room up there, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So that was my whole intention of deciding to cut this. And you can see with the insulation down the side, it's now a nice fit here where it's not pushing up against the radiator too much, but it is stopping any of the heat or air just going in from there, so that way it can just pull all the air directly from the radiator now. Okay, so that was a quick fix, and I needed it for the track event. Started removing all the insulation. I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the rest of it right now. But I was watching online and watched some videos on how people can weld aluminum together using some of these are aluminum brazing rods. So I had this was from my work. We were getting rid of these racks and this piece of aluminum, and it looks like it'll work perfectly if I can cut this straight enough and then cut that and try to work with something. So I'm gonna see what I can do about trying to learn how to use these. I watched a couple of videos on YouTube, which is pretty convenient. See if I have some good results in getting this fixed and built a little bit better than the way I previously finished it. What I did first, I measured a solid line because I needed to be as flat as possible along this edge. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut that piece off. Unfortunately, I didn't have this planned before I started cutting this in half, and wish I would have left a little more room, but it'll be perfectly fine. When I put the fan back onto it, and it mounts just like this, you can see in their respective locations, it'll be right on the edge of it, so it'll still be perfectly fine and perfectly functional. And after the initial cut, it actually came out pretty straight. And it was bent a little bit here, so it's so easy and flexible that I bent it back. That's why I feel like the end plate will strengthen up this edge if I can get them to weld together. I'm gonna go ahead and use my grinder now, and I'm gonna clean off all these edges. I'm actually gonna do it at an angle so it has a little bit of a ridge here. It's kind of like a beveled edge where it angles down this way. And I'm just gonna do that to clean off all of the aluminum. And then also, I wanna weld it there. When I have the piece on it, I wanna be able to have that little channel there so I can run the brazing core, the brazing rod right down that area and have both pieces weld together. Okay, and this is where I'm at so far. I was able to get this piece. I ended up cutting off one half of that, and it seems to fit pretty well here. I'm just gonna need to trim. Let me hold it up for you guys so you can take a look. I'm gonna need to trim that corner somehow and get that to sit flush. Of course, I haven't grinded down the edge of the shroud yet, but I'm just trying to get everything to fit very closely before I do use any of the aluminum brazing rods. Alright guys, and after a bunch of cutting and grinding, I went and trimmed off this piece a little more. Now there's a little bit of excessive material here, but I figure once I get it together, then I can go ahead and just grind it down off the bottom. That way I can determine how much I want to leave. But after getting it lined up, looks like I got it in a good area. It'll sit right there, and then I can try to drop in the aluminum brazing rod, see if I can get it to weld these two pieces together. Here I got it rigged together. I'm using a C-clamp, also some vice grips. I'm trying to just keep these two edges as close as possible together. Here it's a little off, but when I get to that point, I'll just be able to squeeze it over, and then I'll lay the brazing rod down. So now I'm gonna heat it up. So I have my thermometer. I'm gonna start heating it up now using my propane torch and see if I can get to the desired temperature, and let's see if we can get this rod to lay down. Okay, so I let it cool down so I could handle it, and this thing feels sturdy now. Like, it's not moving anywhere. Obviously, it's dried. It's cooled off to the point where I can touch it and feel it. You can see over here, some of these are a lot smoother. It's a little bit more beaded up right here. So I am gonna see if I can't heat that up a little bit more and get it a little bit more smooth. If not, I can just grind it down. But overall, I'm really happy with just kind of throwing this together and creating a full fan shroud out of it now. And now it has the structural integrity here. I think I might do the inside as well, at least on the corners, and then probably in the middle of it, just to strengthen a little bit more. I figure it can't hurt it. And then I'm gonna grind down the edge so that way I can make it at the same height as that, because it's a little bit longer here. And then maybe just clean up around the edges, I'll grind there as well. So let me get a little bit more work done. When I was working on it right now, my torch, it's not lighted anymore. I think it's broken inside here. So I just went to the store and grabbed, this is the Map Pro one. It's supposed to be burn a little bit higher temperature, a little bit faster. So I picked that one up instead. Just see if it works a little bit easier and quicker when I'm trying to get these joints. Okay, after picking up this Map Pro one, this thing works so much better than the regular propane one. So I didn't realize it. I ended up burning the corner a little too much, so I wasn't about to leave it alone. So I would try to make this piece fit even a little better. I have it a little high here on the edge, that way I can grind it down. I just want to make sure I have enough material there so when I add the brazing rod, it fits better. And then on the bottom side, look what I did. I went ahead and made the joints fit so it looks like the original ones. And I used a different piece of aluminum, so I think this one will look and fit even better. So now I'm gonna try to get it welded together with the rods, and then maybe grind it down right here, and let's see what it looks like when I'm finished with that one. And here it is, guys. I finished up, grinded the edge down. I got the brazing rods all lined up there. Now it was a little messy, I guess, with the heat. So, excuse me, some of it would actually slide over here, but I didn't really care for that as long as I got a seal throughout. Got the corners, even did the bottoms, and I flattened those out. So I'm pleasantly surprised with it. I think it'll be perfectly fine and fully functional, which was the goal. I thought about maybe painting it black. That way it'll look really pretty, but I don't really care about that. Once it's in and I have the fan on, you're not really gonna see much of what I was doing and working on over here. So let me get the fan on and see how it looks once I have it fully installed. And here it is, guys. Fan fits on there perfectly. I have no issues with fit. And now it kind of looks almost like it was meant to be that way. Now, had I known I was gonna add this metal piece on before I started hacking it up, I could have obviously centered it a little better. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna make any difference. The fan's still in its position, it's still sealed off, that way it can pull air from the radiator. I think it'll still work just as efficient as it was when I just had the foam on the sides of it. And here it is installed, guys. You have to let me know what you think of my little ghetto DIY today. But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.